Excuse my voice. I'm getting over a cold, so I'm gonna do my best. Okay. Why am I even on YouTube? Um, that's a question I had to ask myself a couple of times. Over the last few years, I've tried to start a YouTube channel, promising that I was going to create content, and then throughout that year, do little to nothing. This was actually the best year I've done so far when it comes to content creation. I've been doing a lot of shorts, but not a lot of long form content. And part of the reason is because YouTube can be really, really difficult to it's hard to just plan out your day, trying to figure out how you're gonna schedule time to shoot content, then edit content, and then upload it. I mean, the whole process of it is crazy. And for people who haven't tried it and they just say from the outside that it's really easy to create content, then they haven't tried it at all. I will say that part of the reason that it's difficult to stay consistent is because I didn't really have a real purpose to stay consistent. For the most part, I was just doing it because I thought it would be a good look, maybe an entry point to some extra cash, generate some revenue, something like that. Nothing really substantive or purpose driven, you know. But lately, that's kind of changed. So I have three reasons for the most part of why I've decided that I am going to continue to create on YouTube and pour more time into it and invest more energy. All right. The first reason for me is I want to document my life and a little differently because, to be honest, life used to have more of a rhythm to it. And it feels so condensed these days. And I know I'm not alone. I've seen a lot of content for this on social media and in different places, but the days just truly blend together. And I can't say it really started after the pandemic, after 2020. I mean, it probably was accelerated around that time, but it definitely began way before that. And every day feels exactly the same. Every season feels exactly the same. Every year just evaporates. Everything feels the same. And part of that is because professionally, we're just driven in a way where we're committing so much time and energy to that, and we don't have anything left to create memories with our family and our loved ones, or if it's just us, you know, with our friends or ourselves, you know. And that's where the challenge is for me. And I think that's improved a lot over this year. I've chosen my family more times this year than I ever would have chosen them in the past because I was prioritizing work. And have a 2-year-old daughter now, you know, her personality is incredible. I love spending time with her. You know, my personal life is fantastic. I really can't ask for more. And, you know, I wouldn't have really known that or discovered that if I didn't put time and energy into it. I'm no longer accepting those, you know, 10, 12-hour days multiple times a week like I was before. Because I want to create those moments and those memories that have a lasting effect. And ideally, instead of just like decompressing all of this stress, thinking that that's the only thing that's going to be relieved, I'm also going to decompress time in that process. Because if I'm doing things that relieve stress, like traveling and going off to create memories with the people that I care about, and not being stressed about an email alert or did I do this or that, just kind of like holding my attention hostage, then, you know, I should remember that moment a lot better. You know, I wouldn't have to depend on social media or a video to remind me, oh yeah, I did do that. I did do that thing and it was a really good time. Like, it looks fun. Instead of just looking at it like I'm observing it again for the first time, because I'm just using short-term memory every single day to get through all of the challenges and the news cycles and the updates on popular culture, all of that. We are no longer using our like long-term memory anymore. We're just using our short-term memory, and that does not allow us to, you know, retain anything. So hopefully you guys will stay along on this journey with me. But ultimately, I'm really gonna do and share a lot of content around what it looks like to achieve this goal, to like create more time for memories in my life, as well as find the balance between digital and analog. I am of that generation that's split between the two, where I was raised in analog, but I'm sorry, born in analog, raised in the digital. So I can speak both whenever I can speak properly. but but yeah, like what is the balance? I don't want to strip digital completely out of my life. And just go straight to analog. I want to have a good mix where it makes the most sense and have a healthy life with both involved. Okay, so that's the first part for the most part. The second part to me is I really think that the YouTube community is the best community for me so far when it comes to social media platforms. I like Instagram. It's cool. I've been on it for a really long time, and that's where my largest following is. But TikTok really isn't for me as much. I just kind of create content for YouTube. I'm sorry, for IG, for Instagram, and then I port it over to TikTok with no real tailoring or anything like that. When I do things on YouTube, I feel like the community comments, gets way more engaged, and I like that. All right, I like that dialogue that goes back and forth. Plus, to be honest, like I watch the majority of the content that I watch on my home screen is all YouTube based. So I watch a ton of slice of life content, travel vloggers, reaction videos, just all of the kind of stuff that you normally see on YouTube. And you know what? I love it. I think it's fantastic. It's better than what's on TV for the most part. And and it's real. And of course, you're going to come across some content creators that are less authentic and scripting things out. But the kind of stuff that I come across and have found, it's been legit. It's been heartfelt. It feels like it's coming from a human and not AI or like really polished Hollywood content. So it's whatever, and you can find that polished stuff like the short films that you come across on YouTube are beautiful, and to support that as well as like the independent animators, that's my new thing. So for me, I love to just see what everybody's up to with how they're sharing things. That style to me is a better version than Instagram. And how I've gone on my journey so far when it comes to like, again, that balance between analog and digital, seeing how people are doing that in their lives and learning from their journeys, that's really validating. So it is what it is. Thank you for that, YouTube. And then kind of lastly, it gives me a creative outlet. And I desperately, really, really need that these days, because everything that I was doing before that was creative has somehow been turned into a business because of capitalism. That's how it is. And in some ways, I've done that to myself. Like, I've taken the things that I've enjoyed the most, and I've been able to do them to produce, a good income for myself, a good salary. But, I sold it off. And that's where it sucks for the most part. Because I of course I enjoy doing what I do for, at the heart of it, but now I have to do it because I'm being paid for it, and that's when things become different. That's when expectations become different. That's when you're forced to do something when before you could choose to do something. So that trade-off can really sometimes suck, and no money can be worth it sometimes. So to have another outlet to create things on, and just tell stories on, really sharpen my storytelling skills, also public speaking skills, just speaking freely about things, and also meeting people. Like, to me, like that's worth it. That's where it becomes more purpose driven, more meaningful for me. And you know what? Lastly, if if I make money from it, fantastic. Like, who's going to turn down $1 right now, especially in this economy? Let's be honest. But, that's not the purpose. That's not the reason that I'm doing this. I'm just going to keep recording and sharing on a regular basis. And then, maybe something will come from it from the financial side of things, and maybe something won't. I could care less. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for the people that I come across and I meet. I'm doing it to share stories that hopefully other people connect with, and we'll see where things go from there, because life is harder than it's ever been. And to be honest, let me touch on one thing before I close out. You know how people ask you how you doing, and sometimes you just say that response like life be life, and I'm stopping that. I'm no longer doing that. We say that in a way where it sounds like we don't have some level of control over our lives. But really, when I sat and thought about that, I realized that, for one, I'm just giving a canned response. For two, that response really just kind of makes it feel like I'm playing the victim role, like I'm the victim of life, when I need to make some choices to change that so that my life can be what I want it to be and kind of grow from there, right? So I'll probably end up touching more on that in future content, but yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I'm on YouTube. So I hope you appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts on all of this. Drop something in the comments, and I'll see you around.